even a year. But eventually, it will subside. And something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever.
I am tired of people not starting and living their life on one very simple thing, which is they're worried about what other people think, whether that's their mom, their friends, and worst of all, comments in social media. I mean, this is some 6th grade lunchroom. Are you really not gonna live your life based on somebody's anonymous icon feedback that you suck? They suck. It's enough. You've lived your whole life this way. It doesn't matter what they think. When you're 92 and you're sitting there, you're not gonna get about what Punkman 96 had to say, or even what your aunt had to say, who's miserable because she never got hers, so she's trying to keep you down. So very simply, please take the passion that is pouring out of my face right now and run with it and go do something. If you need a little burst, here it is. Go do something, because the only thing that's holding you back is you're worried about what other people have to say. You give up on that and you're clean and you can go. And all of a sudden, it's not how much money you have or how much time you have. You just see that you can do it. Money ain't time, ain't of holding you back compared to your worry about other people's opinions. Leave the high school. It's time to go.
There's not much difference between forgiving other people and forgiving yourself. And you can't just do that by saying that you're going to do it. So what I've observed clinically, and I think this works philosophically as well, is that what you want to do to set things right, which is to atone, is to lay out what you've done that you think was wrong. Provide yourself with the best possible defense. So imagine you're taking yourself to task because you did some things wrong. It's like, okay, list them out in your imagination or write it down. But then you got to defend yourself as thoroughly as you possibly can, which doesn't mean you're trying to get yourself off the hook. It means that you're trying not to take yourself apart more than is necessary. And then you might ask, well, if I've done something terrible, maybe what's necessary is that I commit suicide, is that like I pay the ultimate price for my sins, and people will do that when they're depressed. And that's not right, because actually what you want to do to atone is to set yourself back on the right track. So the precondition for forgiving yourself is, first of all, to sort out whether or not you're accusing yourself too viciously.
I started lying about everything. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be accepted in some society of life, some social society. And I lost myself. I never had myself. I never found myself. I had no self-esteem.
Today will be that day. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now, right here, in your house and in your home. Who am I? I am the champion. And people will remember me. I will not let everybody hit me kind. I will define myself. I will write my own praises. And none will tell me what I cannot be. I will never go out not knowing I've given everything I've got. Because who am I? I am the champion. Who am I? I am the champion. Who am I? I am the champion. I am the champion. I am the champion.
I don't think I'm beautiful until you call me beautiful. I actually don't think I'm until you tell me I'm. I don't have faith in me until you have faith in me. I don't believe in me until you believe in me.
And I would constantly improve myself, grow myself as a person so I can be that person that everybody likes.
The discipline is the most difficult thing, not only in the sports, but in the life. The most important thing is the consistency. The consistency is the most difficult thing.
Just doing it every day.
Yes, every day.
Do you ever wake up and you say, I don't want to do it today?
I fight against my mind. Yes, sometimes it's happened. We are all human beings. We are not happy every day. We are, not in a good mood every day. It's normal. It's part of us.
What do you do to overcome that?
I fight against that. It's the big challenge. It's when you're not willing to do something, but you have to do it. This is the main point. This is why I say our mind, it's a box of surprises, and you have to challenge yourself to be consistent. I repeat, sometimes it's hard. It's what many people say, you like to go to the gym every day. Of course not. It's not true. Nobody likes to go to the gym every day. But you have to do it. Probably yes. Because your mental strength is coming from that moments, that in a hard moments, you know you should do it.
They don't know me, son.
Get it.
They don't know
18.
me, son.
Get it.
They don't
19.
know me, son.
Yeah. 20. You got
They
some
don't know
more
me,
in you.
son.
21. Yeah. Get it again. Come on. We want to see it. Good. 22.
Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs?
That's you, buddy. Come on. 23. Come on. 24. One more, David.
Who's
One more.
gonna carry the boats?
You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. You did it. Yeah.
How much do you love yourself? Because if you understand the value of self-love, you'll never be friends with those type of people or ever accept any invites that has to do with this and that.
So I knew through working out and through learning, God, it took a lot for me to learn also. I started finding self-esteem. Once I found that, that's when doors started opening up. I stopped caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, are you gonna make fun of me? I stopped caring about that.
I read a quote a little while ago that said, love yourself so much that nobody's absence bothers you. And I feel like that's honestly the biggest change in mentality that we need. We need to grow for ourselves, not for other people. You need to learn how to love yourself so much, not so another person's absence doesn't bother you, but love yourself so much that you love yourself more than caring if somebody's absence actually bothers you.
But it's also loving yourself, it's also understanding how and when to say a healthy no. No is a complete sentence, my grandma says. I don't need to give any explanation. Sometimes it's just no and a period.
People don't have to like you. People don't have to love you. They don't even have to respect you. But when you look in the mirror, you better love what you see.
Most of the people out here are running around empty. They have no sense of self, no sense of self-love. When we say self-love, it has nothing to do with celebrity, money, materialistic things, and all the things that your negative mind could probably go to. It has nothing to do with self-love. It has nothing to do with looks, nothing to do with cars and any of the superficial things that one would assume that could make you love yourself even more. It's a matter of knowing your value. It's a matter of you saying, I don't have to be around these people in these type of environments and situations in order for me to finally see the value in myself. I love me independent of you loving me.
If you want to learn about not having a mental self-image, watch your dog or your cat. They don't have an opinion about who they are. They just are who they are. So that removes an enormous amount of problems from their lives. Of course, they don't have the mind activity that creates a self-image in their head. They are pre-mind, and therefore their life is far less problematic than human life. You can see how wonderful it is not to have a self-image. You can look at an ugly dog or an ugly cat. They don't have a problem with that.
You know, you are not your past. You're you. You're you right now. Like the past you might have done some things you wish you hadn't done. Don't dwell on that. You learn from it, that's fine, but don't dwell. Just keep moving. Keep moving. You know, use it as fuel. Say never again. You know, I get what I did wrong, but don't think that you're that person that made those mistakes. You're the person who's learned. And to have that attitude is a really important thing. To not say, why am I doing this now? I could have been doing this my whole life. Well, you weren't, so it's not gonna help.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta not think like that. You just gotta be happy you're doing it now.
I would get left on red and I would genuinely question what was wrong with me. I would question what was it with me that made people not want to talk to me, or made people think that I was annoying or just wanted to be absent from my life. And it got so bad to a point where I really wanted to change myself. I wanted to turn myself into a likable person. I wanted to turn myself into a completely different person.
Yeah, I realized at an early age that there's zero benefit in being hard on yourself because I am no matter what, I'm a perfectionist and I get very angry at myself. There's zero benefit to self-talk that's negative. So I cut that out of my life like very early on.
The most important conversation is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually, you act on it. Sometimes you act on it good, sometimes bad. You gotta change the internal dialogue. That person in your head that's talking to you, you gotta change that.
I realized somewhere along the way that the negative, like in any way, shape, or form, I didn't need it because I was so driven. Like that, the negative was just getting in the way. It was like I thought that it was helping me because I was like, come on, like get going. But then I realized like, no. Like that's not, that isn't, there's no benefit to that because you already have like this crazy desire to get better. So just don't ever be shitting yourself.
You did some things that you regret. There's nothing wrong with that. People make mistakes. People things don't turn out the way that they wanted them to. We made decisions and there was a bad result at the end of that decision. And instead of thinking, oh, I'm a terrible person, no, it's like you made a mistake and that's okay and you gotta move on.
You know, because it's one thing if you're sad because you've lost people. It's another thing if you're blaming yourself because you believe, and maybe with some cause, that you've made a mistake. And often people don't know what to do about the fact that they've made a mistake.
A lot of y'all have the deepest level of validation issues and you're not even conscious of it. You need people with you and around you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the idea of spending time alone scares the demon out of you. This is not going to be a pattern of validation that gets fixed and handled overnight. You are deathly afraid to live with and be with you. And so you got text messages, phone calls, and people at your house, video games. You have to be consumed and around and in an environment with people all day, every day, because you don't love yourself.
So he walks out to the water, watch this. When he walks out to the water, it goes waist deep. So he's like, this guy crazy. Adrian, he's like, I want to make money. He got me out here swimming. I didn't ask to be a lifeguard. I want to make money. He got me in. So he said, come on a little further. Walked out a little further. Then he had him right around in this area. He had him held down just before my man was about to pass out. He raised him up. He said, I got a question for you. Somebody answered the question for me. He said, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? Lee, I'm looking for a different word, though. What's that word? He said, I wanted to breathe. He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful.
You got to forgive yourself. See, a lot of us have done some things in the past, or lied to ourselves, or lied to others, or procrastinated, or, you know, all the things we've done has been recorded in our subconscious our whole life. And sometimes we get to the point where deep down, subconsciously, that we're not aware of, we don't think we deserve anything better than we're getting, and that's why we're getting what we're getting. See, you're never going to outperform your own self-image. So you may not be aware of it because we grow these things called egos to protect ourselves, but you theoretically could completely think you're a loser without even knowing you're a loser. So step one is forgive yourself and others from this point forward. You gotta openly and honestly forgive yourself and others. Wipe the slate clean. There should be no resentment towards yourself, no resentment towards anybody else.
What are y'all waiting for? Start attacking life. Waiting for the stars to align. Back when I was growing up, the song came out. All I need is a miracle. Well, guess what? That miracle ain't coming. There is no perfect time to start. You gotta start now with changing your life. We're all being tested in life. And guess what? This is one test you can't cheat on.
You talk about performance without a purpose. What's that?
So, like, for instance, let's say you have no races. let's say you have no classes, no nothing. There's no purpose in your life. You know, people need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing on the docket. There's no 5K, there's no I'm gonna get into school to be this or that, and still perform to the highest level. Because what people don't get is one day that thing's gonna come up. And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not gonna be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us, because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college, whatever, but the main purpose of life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself. So that's the only purpose I fucking need. So the reason I get up every day, even though there's no race or there's no school, there's nothing in front of me, is because I have pride in myself.
Yeah. I don't care how good you are on anything, you don't have discipline, you ain't nobody.
Right.
You're nothing without discipline. Because you give up in the slightest struggle without discipline.
100%.
I mean, discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it. That is a great quote. And if you can do that, you can be successful in anything.
You normally are.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life. Gosh. There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mind. Every single one of them. Think about it. Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up.
It's easy to give up. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. All right, man, I'm done. I ain't going. I ain't gonna keep going. I don't feel like going to work. It's easy. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yo, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened for me. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying. That's a real grind.
Why should you love yourself? Because if I said, should you love yourself, is it important? Everyone, yeah, of course. Everyone agreed that was like important. But when I said, well, why should you love yourself? People would really struggle with the answer to that question. And I would wait for an answer. I'd just sit there in silence with the audience. I did this at my retreat every year for years. I would just sit in silence while the audience came up with an answer to why to love yourself. Eventually someone would say, well, because we deserve it. And I'd say, okay, but why do you deserve it? Like, let's explore that. Why do you deserve self-love? Why do you deserve love? Well, because I'm generous, because I'm ambitious, because I take care of my family, because I work really hard, because they would start reeling off these qualities. And I'd be like, this is a problem. Because you're not those things every minute of the day. So are you saying you don't deserve love when you're not those things? People would suddenly realize why they hated themselves so much of the time. Because they were never living up to this thing that they thought, if I'm these things, then I'm lovable. So anytime they said a mean thing, anytime they were selfish, anytime they didn't show up for their family, anytime they didn't work hard, they would suddenly go straight to, I'm detestable, I deserve contempt. So that didn't work. Not to mention, even on your days where you are those things, there's always someone who's more of them. So if someone can walk into the room and they're more hardworking, or they're more ambitious, or they're kinder, or they're more generous, do they deserve more self-love than you deserve? That's a problem. If you ask a parent, why do you love your child? A parent doesn't say, well, because they got an A in maths yesterday, and because, you know, have you seen how hard they work at school? And you know, and they look so cute in that dress this morning. And they just, you ask why do you love your child? The parent will go, they're my child. They're mine. Well, what if you took that model and you used that as your model for self-love?
It's been very fun especially talking to young men about this. It's like, well, and that's the other thing too, is I think the world is full of darkness, let's say. And we could say each of us have a little bit of light, and if we release that light, if we let it shine properly, Christ, it's too cliche to go on with in some sense, but the world is a lesser place if you do not reveal from within yourself what you have to reveal. And the fact that the world is a lesser place actually turns out not to be trivial. Like if you aren't everything you could be, more people will die, more people will suffer, more evil will be unconstrained, more tyranny will reign, more chaos will remain chaotic and dangerous, all of that.
Do you mean this in the sense of like the old proverb of the wings of a butterfly fluttering become a hurricane?
It's something similar to that, but it can even be more local. It's like your family is more messed up than it could be if you were less messed up than you are.
Right.
So if you just got your act together, like 10% more, your family would be 1% better.
Right.
It's like, well, do it.
And that would ripple off into the people that they interact with.
Yes, and it ripples. That's the other thing that's so cool, is that, like, people think, well, there's 7 billion of us, and each of us is just this separate dust mote, like floating in the cosmos. What the hell difference does it make what you do anyways? It's like, that is not how we're connected. It's like, you're the center of the network, and you know way more people than this, but let's say typically, you're going to know 1,000 people in your life, well enough to have an impact on them, okay? And each of those 1,000 people is going to know 1,000 people. So you're one step from 1,000,000 and 2 steps from 1,000,000,000. And we are networked, technically. That's how human interactions work. And so when you do something that you shouldn't do, it's worse than you think. And when you do something that you should do, it's better than you think. And so you think, well, this is why I've been telling people, clean up your room. It's like, well, your room is actually networked too. It's not that easy to clean up your room, to set it. So you want your room to be set up so that when you walk in there, it tells you to be better than you generally are. It's organized, it's got direction, everything's in its place. You try to do that in a chaotic household. You know, I've watched people do this because I had students do these sorts of things as assignments. I'd say, look, pick a small moral goal, clean up your room, and just write down what happens as a consequence. So maybe these are students in a chaotic household. The whole place is a bloody mess. No one's taking any responsibility for anything. And so they decide they're going to start to clean up their room. And then the people in the household notice. Well, the first thing they do is get pissed off. It's like, who do you think you are? Like, you think you're better than us? Like, why do you think this is worthwhile? Who died and made you God? All of that. So just by trying to organize this little part of their life, they immediately run into the people whose actions they're casting in a dim light by trying to improve themselves to some degree. They might have to have like a thorough war in their household to be allowed to do something as simple as keep the room orderly. They find out very rapidly that A, that's way more difficult than it sounds, and B, that the consequences of it are far more far-reaching than people think. So that's quite fun. No, because maybe part of it is that like everything around you is full of potential. Everything. Maybe more potential than you could ever possibly utilize. And so maybe all you have is this little rat hole of a room in some rundown place in the world. It's like, fix it up. There's more there than you think. See what happens if you fix it up. And you'll fix yourself up simultaneously because you have to get disciplined in order to fix up the room. And then you have a fixed up room and you'll be a more fixed up person. It's like, you think that nothing will happen as a consequence of that? It's like all hell will break loose as a consequence of that.
How the 297-pound cockroach guy who quit on everything is now considered one of the baddest men on the planet? How is that possible? It means I had to change one thing, my mindset. So there's no way in hell that was it, but that guy was in me. Well, that guy came down here and said, hey, guess what, man? You're a fat ass, but I'm gonna now make you a badass. I want a miracle to be a badass. No, it was in me. I had to believe to make that belief work. A lot of times I'll be in a 200 mile run or something like that, and I'm all jacked up. Body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken. I started to say, what if I could pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office, he looked at me and said, there's only been 35 African Americans in 70 years making through. You know what I said to myself? what if I can be the 36th? It's the what if I can pull off a miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be? And just me talking about that, I have the hair going up on my arms. Because it makes me just like, what if?
And it's also very much worth thinking about with regards to setting up your life in general. It's like, if you concentrate solely on your career, you can get a long way in your career. And I would say that that's a strategy that a minority of men preferentially do. That's all they do. They work like 70, 80 hours a week. They go flat out on their career. They're staking everything on the small probability of exceptional status in a narrow domain. But it's hard on them. They don't have a life. It's very difficult for them to have a family. They don't know how to take any leisure activity. Like, they get very one-dimensional. Now, it may be that unidimensionality is the price you have to pay to be exceptional at one thing, right? Because if you're going to be something like a genius-level mathematician, and you want to do that for a scientist, say, it's like you're in your lab all the time. You're working 70 hours a week or 80 hours a week. You're smart. You're dedicated. You're unidimensional. And that's how you get to beat all the other people who are doing that. It's the only way. But the problem is you don't get a life. Now, if you love being a scientist and you have that kind of focus of mind, well, first of all, you're a rare person, and second, you're going to pay for it. But fine, more power to you. But it's a risky business to do that. You sacrifice a lot for it, And I would say most often, if you're speaking about having a healthy life, that isn't what you do. You spread yourself out more. So you have a family. You have some things that you do outside of work that are meaningful to you and useful. You have a network of friends. Those 3 things alone, or 4 things alone, are plenty to keep you well oriented. And then if one of those things collapses, everything doesn't go. Now, the price you pay for that is the more you strive to optimize that balance, the less likely you are to be fantastically successful at any single one of them. But you might have a very, if you consider your life as a whole, that might be a winning strategy. It's like, I want one thing in my life to be 150%, or I want 5 things in my life to be 80%. Well, there's a lot more richness in a life where you have 5 things operating at 80%, but you're not operating at any of them at 150%. So, and I really believe this.
If you don't have people that dislike you or get upset at you, then you don't respect yourself. And I know that sounds crazy, but that pretty much just means that you're kind of teetering towards what everybody else expects from you, what everybody else wants or needs from you. I feel like that constant desire to appeal to every single person is disrespecting yourself. And if you don't even respect yourself, you can never count on anybody to respect you. I feel like people constantly disrespecting themselves is exactly why good things don't happen to people. That's exactly why people are so unsuccessful in life. Because if I wake up every single morning with the goal of working out or reading something and doing something productive, and then I don't accomplish any of that in the day because I disrespected myself. Let's say I just went to a party, or let's say I just slept in all day. I set out all of those goals, and then I blatantly disrespected myself by not doing any of it. So now when I wake up and I try to set the same exact goals, I'm not gonna accomplish any of it. Not because I don't have the motivation this time, but it's because I don't respect myself. Why would I respect myself if I've constantly proven to myself that I'm disrespecting myself? If you gave one of your friends an important task that could make or break your future, and then they don't do it, and then you give them the same exact task the next day so they can redeem themselves, and they once again don't do it, you're going to start respecting that person to handle that decision. The same way that a lot of us wake up wondering why we don't have the motivation, wondering why we can't stick to these goals that we set out. It's because we don't respect ourselves enough to actually do it.
So the human brain operates by pleasure and pain. What is pleasurable, we're attracted to, and what is painful, we naturally recoil from. And if things become too painful, we never do. And if things become pleasurable, we get addicted to them, often with bad consequences. Right? So if the idea of discipline, of consistently doing an action, is only associated with pain, with tedium, with being by yourself in a room, doing one thing over and over and over again, you're never going to get over the mountain. because it's associated with too much pain, and the brain naturally shrinks from anything that's painful, okay? So there has to be pleasure involved. Discipline has to have an element of pleasure. Consistently doing your work has to have rewards. Reward is the key word here, right? But if you've never experienced a reward from discipline, it's going to be very difficult for you. But you have to know that after the 3 months or the 6 months of sitting in your office and writing every single day over and over and over again, as you're trying to write a book or a novel or whatever, it's boring as hell. But man, I'm going to reach that moment in 3 months or 4 months. There's going to be a reward, and I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to get addicted. I'm going to get hooked to that. And you get hooked to those rewards to the point where other kinds of immediate pleasures don't have the same effect on you. And you want this again and again and again in your life. The highs that come from actually reaching your goals. So you have to think in the moment of this where you're trying to discipline yourself of what will be the reward, of the visualize it and feel it. I'm going to have this skill at the end. I'm going to have this business that I've started. I'm going to have this sense of pride. I'm going to have this sense that I got where I wanted to.
And usually I think people end up there because they are going on autopilot with sort of societal expectations or other people's expectations. So, or out of guilt or out of like mimetic desire. Peter Thiel has this whole thing from Rene Girard about how mimetic desires or desires are picked up from other people. And some of those are automatically baked into society, like, go to law school, go to med school, go to whatever, go to business school. Or they might be from watching what your friends are doing and the other monkeys are doing, or it might just be what your parents' expectations are. It might be like guilt. Guilt is just society's voice speaking in your head, socially programmed, so you'll be the little monkey and do things that are good for the tribe. But I think the best outcomes come when you think it through for yourself and decide for yourself. And I don't think people spend enough time deciding.
I think for the most part, it's people that have become sedated. They've forgotten their dreams, but they've forgotten that they've forgotten them. Pink Floyd's Comfortably Numb is about this, right? They've become comfortably numb. I think most people, so I have this friend, and this story really hit me. So during the pandemic, running a podcast, I was able to have the thing that I feel I'm good at, my artistic pursuit and outlet. That was available for me to continue. It was actually increased, so I didn't have other stuff to do. And I have a friend that's a barber, and he got a job at a supermarket. Barbers shut down for a long period of time, and he got a job at a supermarket stacking shelves overnight. And I asked him, I was like, man, how are you finding the new job? It's a big change. He's like, do you know what it is? I actually don't mind the work and the people that I work with, but man, I miss being good at something.
Right. Well,
dude, that hit me so hard.
Right.
I missed being good at something.
Yeah. Well, people need the opportunity to be good at something.
But there's a brain structure called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. As we pointed out before, that's a noun, it's a name, it doesn't mean anything. We could call it the Cookie Monster.
Right.
But what's interesting about this brain area is there are now a lot of data in humans, on some mouse study, showing that when people do something they don't want to do, like add 3 hours of exercise per day or per week, or when people who are trying to diet and lose weight resist eating something.
Right.
When people do anything that they, and this is the important part, that they don't want to do.
Right.
It's not about adding more work, it's about adding more work that you don't want to do. This brain area gets bigger. Now here's what's especially interesting about this brain area to me. And by the way, I'm only learning this recently because it's new data, but there's a lot of it. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex is smaller in obese people. It gets bigger when they diet. It's larger in athletes. It's especially large or grows larger in people that see themselves as challenged and overcome some challenge. And in people that live a very long time, this area keeps its size. In many ways, scientists are starting to think of the anterior mid-cingulate cortex not just as one of the seats of willpower, but perhaps actually the seat of the will to live.
If I could instill one piece of advice into all human beings, it would simply be to believe in yourself beyond, without a doubt. Believe in yourself, and don't rely on anybody to believe in you. don't allow anybody to push you or make you better. Believe in yourself and only yourself, and allow that human being to make you a better person.
I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself on that day that I was going to work that hard every single day, so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, and do that for 20 years, what do you have?
Why do you think people can slip into an obsession over Netflix or whatever, or thread count, but they don't do that for something that can really change their life? Feedback. It's just not what I expected you to say. What do you mean by that? Because, buying something or getting pulled into Netflix, being obsessed about something that gives you no feedback is not scary. A real obsession, like trying to make an impact in the world, you're getting feedback. You try to make a difference in somebody's life, they're going to tell you, that doesn't resonate with you, Brendan. You try to make a difference in a nonprofit, you try to change the world, you try to start something like this, and the views come or they don't come, there's feedback. And people are terrified. It's one of the 4 central fears we all have, is rejection. We're terrified, to be rejected. And think about, if you really want to make an impact, you're going to get a lot of judgment, you're going to get a lot of hate, and ultimately you're going to get rejection. People are going to just diss on you. People are going to say that's not good enough. People are going to say, who do you think you are? And people are so worried about that they stop. And so it's easier. Things that don't give you feedback. Watch Netflix, don't give you no feedback. It's easy. There's no disappointment there. Even if you don't like the show, what do? You should go on the next show. There's no disappointment there. I think trying to make an impact, there's a lot of disappointment and fear and potential for rejection. So people don't get obsessed about making a difference and making an impact because they get hurt.
The only thing that's holding you back is you're worried about what other people have to say. You give up on that, and you're clean, and you can go. And all of a sudden, it's not how much money you have or how much time you have. You just see that you can do it. Money and time ain't of holding you back compared to your worry about other people's opinions. Leave that in high school. It's time to go.
What's up, everybody?
Women will come to you. Job offers will come to you. Money will come to you. If you have this kind of inner strength, this kind of inner power that I think is the ideal for young men today in the world. It's very confusing right now because everything is so fluid, and we're all supposed to think that there's no such thing as masculinity anymore, that it's toxic. But real masculinity, that real kind of strength that I'm talking about, is not toxic at all. It is not out there to hurt people. It's not out there to dominate, to be aggressive, to push people around. It's all about inner strength, inner confidence that you radiate outward. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I advocate making that your ideal and making that the kind of the radar that guides you through these very difficult times.
When you become successful, everybody wants you to be successful until you're successful.
Right.
Then once you're successful, everybody wants to tear you down. They want to tear down a performance. They want to tear down what you said. They want to criticize you here. They want to find a bad thing to say about you. So you got to just keep walking. And your self-worth has to be strong enough that when everybody's trying to attack you, because they want to be you, and the only way they can be you is they rip you. And you have to be strong enough to take those attacks. You just got to be strong enough. And when you're strong enough and you get who you are, man, what a life. Then what? Now you're living.
Focus is another word for obsession. When you are obsessed, you're automatically focused. If you're obsessed with something, when you wake up in the morning, that's on your mind. In the middle of the day, that's on your mind. When you lay down to go to sleep at night, my obsession is on my mind.
There was a study done in Florida at a tennis academy, and what they looked at was what is the difference between those tennis players that are top 5 in the world versus those that are top 25? Was it their diet? No. Was it their exercise? No. Was it when they started playing the game? No. Was it their coaching? No. What they actually found was this. The difference between the top 5 ranked people in the world and the others in the top 25 was their thinking. In the 10 to 15 seconds after a point had been scored in tennis, those athletes that thought positive things such as, I love this game, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. I may have not got that shot, but I'm gonna get the next one. Watch this. Those athletes that thought positive could slow down their heart rate, slow down their breathing rate, and across the entire competition, they were conserving a lot of energy. They were feeling better about themselves. And thus, across the entire tennis academy, in the end, they were victorious.
I became obsessed. I became obsessed with being the baddest fucker that God ever created. Am I that? I don't care. I believe it. And I was trying to tell him, once you become obsessed with something, obsessed, it's okay to be unbalanced for a while. It's okay. Don't be all this stuff people say, you gotta be balanced. To be the best in the world at what you do. It's not about being a Navy SEAL, people. The best at what you do, you have to be unbalanced to find every bit of energy and strength that you have to pull it off. Then you get balanced once you become great.
I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours. Refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely.
It's easy to do. Really easy. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. All right, man, I'm done. I ain't going. I ain't gonna keep going. Yeah, I don't feel like going to work.
The one,
yeah, it's easy. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yo, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened for me. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to work harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying. That's a real grind.
The slave would have just said, we quit, we give up. We would have died in the middle passage. But some slaves said, I don't care what we go through, we're gonna survive this. 400 years of slavery, we're gonna get through this. And you can't get through it 1825. You can't get through a writing class, and you got tutor after tutor, resource after resource. The problem is, you ain't never felt no pain before you're soft. It's a soft generation. You quit on everything. Our people did not quit. Harriet Tubman not only made it, she went back and got some more. She said, you know what, I made it, but I'm gonna walk all, listen to me, shh, not ride the bus. I'm gonna walk all the way back down to the south to get some more. You quitting on 1825? Now watch this, you quit after you, listen to me, you get a sleeping bag and you wait for them. You wait for the first WRA instructor to come in and you come out your bag like this. You quit after you do that. You quit after you had, listen to me, a WRA party. I'm having a party. Everybody